Hello and welcome to the Jason Floyd Golf Academy. We've come to the end of another academic year, a really exciting time for our students who are graduating, who are accomplishing their dreams of going to American colleges on golf scholarships and competing in the NCAA. We're going to go into the academy now. One of our players who is graduating this year, Leo Zurovac, we're going to have a quick chat with him and give you a bit more of an insight into the improvements he's made whilst he's been with us and what he's looking forward to in this coming year. So come on in and we'll give you a quick show around and we'll speak with Leo. Okay, so we've got Leo. It's his full swing, which is his happy place. He's a ball striking extraordinaire, especially when it comes to the driver. He's absolutely bombing it long and straight normally, which is always good to see. We're joined by Jason as well. Jason's going to talk us through some of Leo's full swing improvements. But I picked you up there, but how do you feel about your long game? It's definitely your strength, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd say it's my main part of my game that's allowing me to score really well. Because as Lorne said, off the tee, hitting it long, hitting it straight, hitting an insane amount of fairways, which has really helped me. And also with the irons, I'm just dialed in most of the time, hitting a lot of greens, which is this leading to immense scores, I would say.
Yeah. And would you say that long game has always been your stronger attribute, albeit not as strong as it is now, but it's always the thing you felt more confident with?
I'd say with long game, I've always been better than my short. It's always been better than my short game. But now it's on a new level, but my short game is also gradually improving, catching up with my long game, but there's still a lot of improvement to do.
Well, I mean, if you go from 5 to +5, you're making some incredible improvements across every area of your game. So we're joined by Jason, as I mentioned. Jason's going to talk us through some of the skills that Leo's improved. How has Leo become this insane ball striker that we've been talking about?
I think primarily, number one, you said it earlier, I think is, and we see this a lot with successful students at the academy, it's his attitude, it's the desire and the ability that you want to be better, the work you're prepared to put into it. So I think that's been the whole catalyst behind his success. And then from there, obviously, he's very athletic, he obviously has that talent, listens very well, communicates very well, therefore I think he takes on board a lot of the teachings that we give him. I think technically Leo's quite an interesting case, so he just kind of falls a little bit on the side of what we call a side cover golfer, so that means a slightly sort of weaker right hand grip, and then the way he rotates with his body, he gravitates a little bit to his left side, not massively with both, but just a little bit, and I think it took us a little time actually to recognise that. I think now we know exactly where he is. It's allowed us to fine-tune him to a better level. From what we've seen, with the fortune that we have with the likes of the 3D technology, the force plate technology, we've been able to dial him in pretty good, pretty quick. So I think we'll do a little bit of a throwback. This is a drill that we actually originally did with Leo, who suffered a little bit with some early timings. So he would tend to be quite early with his spending his rotation, his spin, jumping a little bit too early, which would then cause some mischievous movements with the club face. So really simple drill. We're going to put this under the right foot. Works really well actually with foot joy shoes as well, which is a key one. So there's like a little groove actually. Maybe they designed that with that in mind, I don't know. But let's put that into your, or under your right foot, I'll move out the way. So this is a simple one where when Leo just sets up, this is almost like a little rail track. It just gives him a sense that if you now make a backswing, get to the top of the backswing, so Leo's wingspan to his height is much greater, so the hands will be higher, and what that will encourage is a greater shift of pressure going back into his right heel. So almost like a little rail track. He struggled for quite a while of leaving his pressure too much on the ball of the foot. Coming down in transition, he would then spend that forward motion and spend the spin too early. This now gives him a little bit more time to load back into the heel so that gradually he can now come forward and rotate in the downswing. So LZ can go ahead, he can hit a shot. Again, simple drill, nice little feedback drill. We like these ones, but again, I think it's all about validating these drills and quantifying them with the force plates that we have. So that's a simple one. And then we touched upon his right hand grip. Again, very simple but extremely important and effective would be the next one I'm going to do. I'll take this out of his way. Right hand only. And just to really dial in exactly where that right hand should be positioned, because you can imagine there's a whole spectrum of positions that you can now put the right hand on. So that would be what we call a side-on grip, when the palm faces the target. And now almost by kind of mini tens of degrees, you can kind of see how the hand can get weaker. And obviously you can go the other way and get to what we call a stronger position. But it just dials him in just exactly where this right hand should be. So for LZ, just makes a few little smooth swings. He can now feel when the club face is at its most stable and therefore square, and that in turn allows him to go ahead and release the club correctly. Again, with Leo's club head speed is very high. Sometimes he can get, and again I say this with so it's a very subtle angle, but he can get a little bit off with his driver, and I mean off means he's probably on the left hand side or the right hand side of the fairway, not the middle. So I think it's really a question that making sure that right hand is where it is, he can go ahead, he can fully release the club. So I think that's really technically what we've done with him.
I think the main thing for us is obviously that personalised aspect. Everything we've spoken about here is to do with Leo and Leo alone. That would change with another student because they would have different requirements. I think that's what you were saying earlier about the force plates. Obviously I use the TrackMan and these other things. We're able to work out what does Leo specifically need and then tailor a program to him, and then obviously that is a huge element as to why he's made so many improvements so quickly, I would say.
Yep, absolutely.
Perfect. Right, we're going to move on to some other areas. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next bit. Okay, so we're with Leo. We're going to talk about some mental performance in general. Leo, your mental performance is pretty solid on an emotional level. You're pretty calm. You kind of just get on with it. You take the rough with the smooth, you'd say. But one thing that Leo maybe didn't quite have when he arrived here, and what many juniors in general don't have when they arrive to the academy, is structure. And when it comes to mental performance, it's all about having a process, it's all about having structure that you can follow, which distracts your mind away from all of those unnecessary distractions, like the situation and various other things that you shouldn't be thinking about. Okay, so in the form of what we call our process boxes, we've got our think box, our play box and our post box. We're going to show you what we go through with a student like Leo in regards to a pre-shot routine. So we're currently in the think box. As it sounds, this is where we do our thinking. This is where we're trying to work out and calculate the distance that we're trying to hit the golf ball. The first thing we want to know, Leo, is the actual distance. So obviously in amateur golf we've got our lasers and our rangefinders. So Leo's going to give us an actual distance to one of the flags.
168 meters.
168. So Leo's now just going to go through a process, but I'll just talk you through what he's going through. So we've got 168 meters. The first thing we're going to look at is a lie. So how do you describe this lie, Leo?
It's ball below the feet and slightly upslope tendency lie. So ball should launch higher and move from left to right.
Okay, and maybe come a touch shorter.
Shorter, yeah.
You'd expect, obviously that could change varying on the wind, but let's say it's going to come a bit shorter. So 168. What's your new number?
I'll take 160. As my new number, take 8 off it.
Okay, 160. From there, we're going to talk about elevation change. Is he hitting up or downhill? So how do you describe this shot with that?
This shot's a bit downhill.
Yep.
Take 2 off. So 158.
158. Okay.
Yeah.
And next thing from there, we're going to talk about the wind. So strength and direction of the wind.
So wind is slightly off the right into a bit, so it's hurting. So I'd add 3 to 4 meters. Played about 162 now. That's my playing distance.
Cool, so 162. So now he's got his playing distance as 162. So we've got to remember the actual distance and the playing distance are most likely different because of the conditions that go into the effect of the shot. However, there are other factors. So let's imagine now we have water in front of the green, the pin's on the front. 162 is your playing distance. What would you do in this situation?
Would take the safe option and add a couple meters.
Yep.
Probably 2 to 3 meters.
Okay.
So
165? Cool. So we've got now a 165 desired playing distance. That's the distance he wants to hit this ball. What club would you say is going to hit that 7 times out of 10?
7-iron.
7-iron? Perfect. So he's going to take his 7-iron. Okay, now he's kind of completed his think box phase. He's got his distance. I'm just going to move slightly out the way here because Leo's going to go through the next part, which is his play box. Oh well, before he does that, he's actually going to visualise. Okay, so he's going to think about the shot that he wants to hit. He's going to visualise that shot. He's going to do his practice swings, and once he's ready to hit the button, he's going to walk into what we'd call the play box. Okay, so when you're ready, Leo, you walk into that play box. Okay, so he's walking in there now into his play box, and here it's about an 8 to 10 second play box ideally, where he's got a clear mind. He's committing to the shot that he wants to hit, fully committed. If at any point he's distracted by anything, be that a playing partner, a sound, self-talk, he should step away, and if he's fully committed, he should go in and execute the shot. Okay, so that's what he's done there, and then we move into the final performance box. Probably the most underutilised part of a routine. I'd probably argue that very few people do this part, even though it's probably the most important in many ways. We call it the post box. Okay, so what happened after the shot? What did you learn from it? So there's 3 questions we ask of our students. First one is, what happened? So factually, what happened with that golf shot?
It flew to target basically.
Yeah, so it flew how you wanted it to go?
As expected, everything was calculated.
And
the right number, and strike was slightly duffy due to the elevation change in the ground. So next time we should move more up with the slope to reduce to improve the strike. Yeah. And yeah, those are the improvements, I'll say.
Perfect. So what Leo's done there, without me even having to ask, he's gone through the what happened. So it flew to target, the strike was a little bit off, and the second, that's the factual what happened. Next is why did it happen? He mentioned about the lie. He didn't quite adjust properly to the lie that was presented to him. So how would he do it next time is the third question, and he mentioned he'd move the ball slightly further up in his stance to compensate for that slope. Okay, so from there he's now got a learning point from every shot that he's hit, and it's all done logically. There's no emotion in there. Okay, so it's distracting that emotional part of the brain, keeping it logical. And the final part of that post box is accept the result. It is what it is. Go and find it and hit it again, which is definitely a strength that you've had. Have you got anything else to add there, Jason? Certainly about the emotional element of the routine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the emotional side, as you said, I think is the undoing of many golfers. Certainly for teenagers, that's a difficult stage in their lives anyway. I think having that discipline and structure and that framework to fall back on, golf is about highs and lows, and mostly it's a game of failure and disappointment more than it's success. So I think the undoing a lot of very, very good players, technically they can be brilliant, but they almost sabotage themselves because they don't have the strategy and the systems to cope with these emotional situations. So having something like this to help them through tournament round after tournament round, shot after shot, I think is invaluable.
No, absolutely. I think that just to add to that, it's not only about having that structure and process, which is so vital, it's about expectation management. That's something we talk about a lot, and I won't go into too much detail here because we could have a half-hour video. But expectation management's huge. And when you watch golf on TV, you've also got to remember it's live golf, yes, but in reality it's not live golf, it's highlight golf shot live. You know, so they're choosing the images and they're choosing to show you. And just because tour pros seem to hit every ball close and hole every putt, that isn't the case. You know, so understanding tour averages and actually understanding what a good shot is huge to expectation management, and then also contributes massively to emotional control. So if you were to come here, we'd be able to show you some tour statistics and educate you in that. But yeah, as we said, this is a great little process and structure that you could take onto the golf course tomorrow, and it will definitely improve your game. Okay, we're going to look into Leo's short game now, some of his short game progressions, but first, how would you describe your short game when you arrived here a couple of years ago?
Well, coming to the academy back in 2019, I would say I was a really one-dimensional type of player with playing one shot only, which was usually the low, steep, spinny ball. However, over the years I've progressed into playing a variety of different shots, at different times, which has helped me to lower my proximity to the hole, which has helped me with my scoring it, because it's easy to hold putts when you're close to the hole.
Absolutely. We were talking about putt percentage, mate, trying to get it within that kind of 6 foot circle as we discussed. Obviously, short game's so important. You need a variety of shots. You need to hit it low, high, mid-flights, with spin, without spin, all these kind of things. Matt, can you help us understand the improvements that Leo's made over the last couple of years?
Well, as Leo knows now, and he now starting to have a 3D short game. That's what all tour players have, and that's what we teach here. So, technically, first of all, really it was the control of your radius that was a problem. So, you would tend to have a lot of set in the backswing, and then from there you would now go about trying to lengthen it, and then, as you've quite rightly said, the ball's coming out fast, the smash factor's high, and it's very difficult to control. So yeah, we've done a few things. I mean,
can you explain kind of what radius means for maybe people watching that aren't so savvy with that terminology?
Sure. So what we're looking for is a constant distance between our body and the club. So there's many things I can do to lengthen it or shorten it. We're going to try and keep it the same going back, going through. So it's mechanically easier just to work with, to strike the ball, to get it close to the hole. Mm-hmm. Why don't you, here's a couple of shots, Leo. I brought a towel in, just a simple drill that we've kind of done over the time for you, just to, again, work on that radius and make sure that's nice and constant. That's good, go one more. You just actually don't hit a shot, but if you make that follow through to the camera so that they'll rotate you in. Just rotate you as well. I'll hit towards the camera. And then we'll see now that if we were to sort of take an extension line of this club, it would hit him in the belt buckle. That's a real good understanding if you can keep your radius, and it's something that you guys at home will be able to improve with.
Okay, so that's a little bit of an insight into some of Leo's technical improvements with the short game. You consider yourself a good short game player now?
I'd say there's a lot of room for improvement, but we're getting there. So.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to your ball striking, you're pretty insane. So if you're comparing it to ball striking, obviously it's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
But if you're getting the ball around the golf course, and when you do miss a green on the rare occasion, if you can get up and down, you're going to be scoring pretty well. So thanks, guys, for those explanations.
Thank you.
Okay, we're in the KinetiX Strength and Conditioning Centre. The physical side of our program is huge. It's so important. It needs to connect so closely with our technical program. We're here with our KinetiX instructor, Ollie, with Leo as well, as you've already seen. So Leo's doing some exercises. Ollie's going to explain what the reasons for those exercises are. But we were just upstairs, Ollie, and we were talking about Leo's technical abilities in the full swing. We were mentioning that he might be a front post golfer, meaning he transfers his weight mainly around his lead leg. How do you utilise that kind of information when it comes to gym programs?
So that information is vital. So the way that we would transfer that into the gym is just making sure that being a front post golfer, so predominantly he's going to be having his balance on the left. We want that balance to be really good on that left leg. So we're utilising a lat strengthening exercise here while we're actually coming outwards into an exterior movement through that period as well. And as you can see, he is doing very well in that.
And what would you say are the other areas of this? Obviously, one of the other things that we discussed upstairs was when he first came, his proprioception or his understanding of how to transfer his weight in relation to the ball of his foot to his heel was a bit limited.
Yeah.
Would you say an exercise like this would allow him to have a better feeling within that foot of how to transfer his weight properly?
It'll definitely give him a unilateral experience through that motion as well, and then we can then move him on to something other than a landmine rotational press as well. So if you want to drop that one down a second and then move on to the next exercise. So from here we're looking to really focus on getting the weight in there. So we've got a driver stance going on, we've got on the front leg a good shift going through, and then you can really transfer that energy from what he's just built through here, really get the hit through as well. That was one of the biggest keys that he needed when he first came to us. his internal and external rotation of the hips weren't quite there. Now, as you can see, he's really firing that hip through, glute engagement, and he's really using that balance he's just gone through there to pop on and be balanced in the landmine press there.
So Leo, we'll let you stop for a second before you tire yourself out. You know, we've mentioned the physical side of our program is so important. How has it been for you? Before you came here, did you do much physical work that related so closely to your technical performance?
I wouldn't say I did much work in the gym at all before I came to the academy, but coming to the academy, Ollie helped me with my strength and conditioning, which has helped me improve my club head speed, get my swing dynamics more efficient, and overall help my ball striking. Yeah. So it's had a direct link to my golfing ability.
And that makes you feel more confident as well, so there's a huge mental component as well. I think that's the thing here at the academy. Obviously it says it on our badge, technical, physical, mental. They all link so much together, so that when you've got your technical program and you've got a physical program that matches, all of a sudden you feel better, you feel more confident, and mentally you'll perform better as well before we even introduce mental concepts. So that's something that we mentioned upstairs. I mean, Leo puts the work in, all of our students put the work in, but this one in particular has done an absolutely amazing job over the last 2 years, and he's deserved every success he's getting. So well done, Leo, and thank you, Ollie.
Well, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this series of videos with Leo. He's off. He's going off to America in a month and a half? When do you go?
In August.
In August, perfect. So that's really exciting for him. We're really excited for him as well. As we've mentioned throughout these videos, he's been an absolute superb student. A pleasure to have around. Any final thoughts from you, Leo? You're going to miss us?
I'm going to miss everyone in the academy. It's been a great 2 years, three years almost, and with having great experiences with all the coaches helping me through the last 3 years. They've helped me quite a bit to get to the level where I am now, opening many doors for the future, and I'm really going to miss the academy, and I'd just like to thank everyone for helping me on my journey.
Well, you are more than welcome. I'm sure Jason will have some final thoughts as well, but I think just to add on from what Leo said there is a huge part of us. Yes, we're a golf academy, we partner with a school, we provide academics, we provide golf instruction, but the biggest thing for us is helping students like Leo be better people, you know, and being better prepared for that next step in their life. To Butler University, in your case, Division 1 in Indianapolis in the US, but no doubt whatever he goes into in the future, he's going to be better prepared for it. And hopefully we've helped him with that. So thank you so much for everything you've done as well. Jason, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just think keep on it, Leo. You've done great. Obviously we'll keep working with you. We'll do some online work, and I'm sure you'll be back here at the academy in person as well. But yeah, I think it just goes to show, if you are focused, you're hard working, take on board, I think, you know, a lot of our teachings and practices, then you can achieve some very great things. And I think you're following in a lot of good footsteps of other successful students that we've had. So yeah, I'm sure you'll do a great job in Indianapolis.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys for watching. Hope you've enjoyed, and we'll see you soon.